Hi, everyone. I hope you've had a great week. Today, we're going to walk through lessons 93 to 96. So let's get started. This week, you are going to need your lessons manual, the student worksheet book, the math card games manual with the game cards. You will need the plastic coins, the AL abacus, and the dry erase board. This week, your child is going to have a review and games lesson, and they will also work on coin values and using of the coins. So let's get started by looking at lesson 93. Now, this is a review and games lesson. You're going to give your child only one of the two worksheets, either 60A or 60B. Now, if your child does well on this review lesson, go ahead and move on to the next lesson for your next school day. If your child struggles on this worksheet or parts of the worksheet, discuss their errors with them to find out why they made the mistake. What you're looking for is understanding. So if your child made a silly mistake that they know the correction, they know what they did wrong and it's not normal for them, go ahead and move on. However, if your child does not understand something, you're going to want to go back. If your child has forgotten something, or if your child is unsure about a concept, go back and review some previous lessons as well. If you need to, go back to several lessons or a section of a lesson to review the material that your child struggled with, just to make sure that they are understanding the material. Then, if you wish, you can later give your child the second worksheet from this lesson, 60B or 60A, whichever one you didn't use, just to double check that they got the material correct or that they understand the material. Don't give that second worksheet, though, the same day that you do the review. Allow some time to elapse before giving the next review worksheet, just to make sure that that material is in their long-term memory, and that they completely understand the material and not just in that short-term memory. Just as I usually do, I'm going to go through the problems and provide the lesson numbers that you need to review with your child. If your child struggled with problem 1, which is 100 minus 21, you can take a look at lesson 56. For problem 2, which is 99 minus 77, review lessons 54 and 56. For problem 3, which is 85 plus 38, review lessons 20 and 21. For problem 4, which is 38 plus 78, again, look at lessons 20 and 21. For problem 5, which is 206 plus 49, you can look at lessons 20, 21, and 22. For problem 6, 306 minus 293, review lessons 88, 89, 90, 91, and 92. For problems 7 and 8, which are the clocks problems, look at lessons 82, 83, and 84. For problem 9, 4,085 minus 3,869, review lessons 88, 89, 90, 91, and 92. For problem 10, which is the word problem, you can review lessons 86 and 87 when you're looking at part whole circles and working with word problems. Or if your child needs help with some addition skills, take a look at lessons 27, 28, 29, and 30. For problem 11, which is comparing 2086 with 2806, you can review place value using place value cards in lesson 24, or for comparison skills, you can review lessons 26, 86, and 87. For problem 12, where you're comparing 4,253 minus 256 and 4,253 plus 256, you can review lessons 20, 21, and 22 to review their addition skills, or look at lessons 88, 89, 90, 91, and 92 for subtraction skills. For problem 13, where you're comparing, or your child's comparing 54 minus 11 and 54 minus 13, take a look at lesson 54. For problem 14, comparing 5,371 minus 100 and 5,271, you can take a look at lessons 88, 89, 90, 91, and 92. For problem 15, where the child is comparing 399 plus 2 and 301, you can review lessons 8, 20, and 21. For problem 16, where the student is comparing 6,000 minus 1 and 5,999, take a look at lessons 43, 88, 89, 90, 91, and 92. For problem 17, which is the last problem, review lessons 88, 89, 90, 91, and 92. Once your child completes the review worksheet, you're going to play the math card game Subtraction Corners in the Thousands. Now, you have played this game previously, and it does have a blog for it. So you can go back to our website and review that blog for how to play this game. Now, for this game, you are actually going to start with the number 4,000 and subtract down from there. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn to lesson 90. For this lesson, you're going to need a penny, nickel, and dime from the plastic coins. The first paragraph of the warm-up is going to have your child count by 10, starting with 75. So it's a non-10 number. So they're going to start at 75 and count all the way up to 175. The second paragraph is going to review fractions. Let your child refer to the fraction chart if they need to. The third paragraph is having your child do some subtraction problems. The fourth paragraph is having your child compare and review place value. The last paragraph of the warm-up is asking questions about comparison words and then applying those words. Look at the section called penny, nickel, and dime. This part is going to assume that your child has had no real experience or education using these coins. So this paragraph or this section is going to discuss what the coins look like and their value. Now, if your child is a counter, counting on their fingers or counting up mentally, then you're going to find that they may have a more difficult time learning their coin values. If that's the case with your child, read through the explanation section on the right of the section called penny, nickel, and dime. This is going to help your child learn coin values. Now, the last two paragraphs on the first page is going to have you ask questions about the coins, and you will also introduce the term cent. Now, if your child knows all about coins and their values, just glance through these questions in the penny, nickel, and dime section, just double checking, making sure they know that information. Quickly move on. There's no need to belabor all of that section. So just quickly move on. Don't ask every question and then move on to the next section. Now take a look at the top of the second page. Even if your child is very solid with their coins, you're still going to want to work through this next section together, called entering coin values on the abacus. In this section, you are going to have your child use the abacus to show the pennies value, nickels value, and dimes value. So let me show you what that's going to look like. So here's the abacus. For the penny, of course, it's just a value of 1, so you just move 1 bead over. For the nickel, that's worth 5 beads, or 5 cents, which is 5 beads, which is all of the one color in one row. And then for the dime, it's 1 whole row or 2 sets of 5s. So having your child see that is really going to help them understand quantities and how to calculate them. In fact, using the abacus to show coin values was a huge benefit for my daughter. Once she saw those values on the abacus, everything clicked for her. She was able to add and subtract coins with no difficulties at all. Through this entire section, you're going to have your child practice entering coin values on their abacus. Make sure you use as many examples as necessary for your child to get this down. Take a look at the section called adding coin amounts. In this section, your child is going to add several coins together as listed in the manual. Have your child use their abacus during this section unless your child is able to calculate coin values without any difficulty at all. Now, there are 2 math card games listed for this lesson. You can choose to play either or game, or you can choose to play both games. The games are Money War and Who Has the Most Money. Both of these games are explained in a blog on our website, and that blog is called Winter Games, Money War, and Who Has the Most Money. After you finish playing those games, then you're going to show your child how to draw the cent sign as shown at the bottom of the second page of the lesson. Then you're going to give worksheet 61 to them and have them complete that worksheet using the abacus as needed. Now, if your child struggled with fractions in the warm-up section, you may also want to add a fractions math card game so you can review those fractions. Well, let's go ahead and turn to lesson 95. For this lesson, you are going to need the plastic coins. The first part of the warm-up is having your child solve problems 11 and 12 from worksheet 58. Now, you started that worksheet last week, so you may need to dig that one back out. The next paragraph is having your child review coins. And the third and fourth paragraphs is having your child count by fives and tens. Now take a look at the section called half dollars. In this section, you're going to show all of the coins, the penny, the nickel, the dime, the quarter, and the half dollar. Then you're going to show your child the half dollar and help your child understand how much that is worth. And you are simply going to let them use the abacus. So a half dollar, you're going to take a look at the dollar that is worth 100 cents. And by the way, how many beads are on the abacus? 100. So how much would half of a dollar be worth? That would be half of the beads on the abacus, or 50 cents. Now, on the top of the second page of the lesson, you're going to introduce the quarter of the dollar to your child, and you're going to discuss its value. Now, take a look at the section, the explanation section at the top of the second page. It says this: the child may find it easier to think of finding a quarter of a dollar by finding half of a half dollar, which is what they've been doing with fractions. Then you're going to have your child show the value of the quarter on the abacus, and it shows you two different ways of how to do that on the top of the first page of the lesson. So a quick, easy way for my kids is they notice that the abacus is divided into 4 sections if you look at all of the colors. So you have the blue, that's 25, yellow 25, this yellow segment's 25, and this blue segment's 25. So this is one way for your kids to identify 25 cents. But if they are looking at the 50 cents, they may end up just having the 2 full rows and then part of the second row. So the 50 cents is actually all 5 of these rows. 25 cents would be half of that, which leaves you with 2 rows and a half of a row. All right, then you're going to have your child add quarters together. Now, this is an important concept for your child to learn. So you may want to work through this section several times throughout the day until your child is comfortable with adding quarters all the way to a dollar. So they're going to want to be comfortable with adding 25 plus 25 is 50. Plus 25, 75, and plus another 25 is $1. And again, review that throughout the day so your child is comfortable with those denominations. Again, then you're going to play the game Who Has the Most Money memory game, or I guess Who Has the Most Money game. But this is a variation of it. For this version, you are going to include the quarter cards. In the previous version of it, you did not play. You only played with the pennies, nickels, and dimes. This version, you're going to add the quarters to it. Then you're going to give your child worksheet 62. And this worksheet is like a puzzle. And it is an activity that my kids really found fun. Let your child use the coins and the abacus as needed to complete this worksheet. Now, if your child struggled with the subtraction problems in the warm-up section, go ahead and review their subtraction, or maybe they struggled with some fractions previously. Add a game to cover the subtraction or fractions to keep those topics fresh and those math facts really strong. Go ahead and turn to lesson 96. For this lesson, you're going to make a cash box. So let me show you how to make it. First off, just grab a blank piece of paper, fold it in half, and then cut along this line. Once you have it cut, then you're going to want to draw lines on here. You're not going to want to fold it, but draw lines. How I did it was I just drew a half line and then split each half in half so that you have this cash box. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to put the coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters in each of these sections. You're just going to let them run around in there. Well, not really run around, but they're just going to sit in each section. So you're dividing them up so they will have easy access later on. Now, for the warm up, the first part of the warm up is having your child work through problems 1 and 2 from the warm up practice sheet. Now, the practice sheets are found in the back of the student worksheet book after the math journal pages. The second paragraph is going to again review coins. The third paragraph is going to have your child count by fives and tens. The final paragraph will have your child review fractions. Now, these are suggested warm-up problems for your child. If it takes too long to do all of these warm-up problems, if they mentally wear down by working through all of them, then don't do every single one of these segments. Pick and choose what you think your child needs to review, just so that you know that they're retaining that information. The warm-up section should only take about 5 minutes to do. So if it's taking longer, skip through these problems. You just want to double check to make sure your child remembers, kind of like a spot check. All right, so take a look at the section called preparation. This is where you are going to make the cash box and put the coins in the correct sections. If your child enjoys building things like this or making things like this, you may want to involve them in this preparation time. Now take a look at the section called Problem 1. Now this is a money word problem that you are going to read to your child several times. In fact, you may want to change the name of the word problem from Sam to your child's name. I did that all the time with my kids. Also, the other thing that I did was I changed some of the topics. So in this particular word problem, Sam buys a mango. So what I did is I would change it to my child's name, McKenna. McKenna buys, and my kids loved horses. So I would almost always change the item to a horse. So I would say McKenna bought a horse for 39 cents, which is quite a steal, I would say. After you read through the problem several times, explain what the term change is, because in that segment, it asks how much change does Sam receive? So your child may not know what that means. So read through that section, explain to your child what change is. You will then draw part whole circles and use those part whole circles to break down that word problem. Now, don't tell your child how to solve the problem or even where to put the numbers in the part whole circle. You're simply going to ask questions to help them figure out what area to put the segment in. Now, you're probably going to need to read this word problem to your child several times to get all of that information in. And then ask questions like, do you know what the whole amount is? Do you know any of the parts? And then let your child fill in those circles, even if they're wrong. Now, if they are wrong, go ahead and let them finish that problem and then ask that all important question at the very end. Does your answer make sense? Let your child learn to catch their own mistake. Now, on the top of the second page, you are actually going to act out the word problem using coins and showing your child how to count up the change. You are also going to do that using the abacus. So let me show you how to use the abacus walk you through that. So the first thing we are doing is that we know that the mango costs 39 cents. So here is 39 cents. So there's 30 and there's 9 cents. Now we know that the mango was purchased by 2 quarters, by using 2 quarters. So the first thing is we need to know how much is 2 quarters worth. Well, that's 50 cents, right? So we need to go from 39 to 50 cents. It is easy to add when you have full tens or fives, right? So what we want to find, we want to get 39 to a number that ends with a 0 or a 1 or a 5. So what we can do is we simply add 1 here. So we have 39 plus 1 will take us to 40. Now 40 to 50 is an easy calculation, right? We just need 10 more. So we're going to add 10 more. And that is how you count up using the abacus using the abacus. Now you're going to walk your child through this process and you're going to help your child analyze this transaction by asking questions about it. Then you're going to walk through another word problem in the middle of the second page under the section called Problem 2. Again, have your child use the part whole circles and the abacus just as you did with the previous word problem. Let your child work through this problem as independently as possible. You will need to read through that problem several different times, that's fine, but try not to give too many hints too soon. Let your child figure it out because that's where the growth is going to take place. The math card game for the day is Change from 50 Cents game, or you can play the Change from 50 Cents Solitaire. Now, there is not a blog for either one of these games, but they are fun to play. If you do decide to play the solitaire game, you can play along with your child as a team. Well, that's it for the week. If you have any questions or concerns about a lesson, or if your child is struggling with something, give us a call or email us. We're here to help. I look forward to seeing you next week as we cover lessons 97 to 100. Have a great week, everybody.